You are listening to the WYRD Mountain Gals Show. Prepare yourself.
Okay,
Well, at least something's in progress, right?
that's exactly how I feel, though I'm very much in progress. I got up early this morning, repacked,
Mhm.
did my teeth, all that stuff.
You did your
Get out of here, did my teeth. Well,
Well,
I came up late Thursday, I think. It felt like I was getting another infection at that surgical site. So,
no.
uh, well, it happens because it's really hard to clean. It's basically a hole in my
Oh,
jaw. Um, but it felt like that to me. So I called the oral surgeon's office and I left a message for the triage nurse. And of course, she didn't call back Friday. And then I reckon yesterday was Memorial Day, so they weren't in the office then.
oh,
But what I've done is what I always do. I mean, I've been dealing with gum infection since I was in college.
yeah.
I just did all the things.
Salt
The rinsing
water
with
and
warm salt water and the brushing and the rinsing and the blah, blah, blah. And whether it will stop the infection, I don't know, but it will hold it at bay. So it's better today than it was yesterday. Because
as far as
I mean,
pain?
it doesn't hurt, but like down here, it feels it feels like when you go to the dentist and they numb you. Well, you don't do that though. You don't get that. No,
Oh, I remember it though.
it's like when Novocaine is running out. When it's so it feels like that on my bottom lip, half of my bottom lip, and that was the signal before for an infection. I would like to have gotten some antibiotics, but I will tend it as best I can.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know you will. And you have the ability if something were to happen through the week and you felt sure you needed more, you can telehealth if you need to with what you
Yeah.
I mean, people don't like that idea at first until they do it once or twice. But somebody like you would probably be a good candidate because you're not going to exaggerate your sickness.
Right.
You just want to get some help, and you probably wouldn't use your telehealth doctor as your permanent doctor, but rather just the intermediary. See, a lot
Well,
of
I did think about calling my primary care woman, Laurel, and
Mhm.
saying, the oral surgeon is not available. Can you just go ahead and write me? Because it's not a high power uh, antibiotic. It's not a huge antibiotic. So anyway, but I think I'm gonna be fine. And if I'm not, well, I'll have to go find it because we're gonna be out in the woods till Sunday.
Well, if you can call me, I will drive up there and come and bring you medicine.
Oh,
Whatever
you are a good friend.
you
Actually,
want.
I think I'm gonna be just fine. So
Well,
tell me about Mr. Selby's big nuptials.
well, our boy's a man now. Again.
Oh,
Again.
you
Our
didn't catch the
son.
bouquet. Did you catch the bouquet?
There was no bouquet to catch. It was yeah, it was a familiar but not necessarily traditional wedding.
I
So it
like
was a
that.
familiar one. It was in an actual church. I think the church that he goes to, and the bride
Oh, that's
looked
sweet.
amazing, and she designed her own dress. And it
Wow.
was an evening dress, but it wasn't a traditional wedding gown.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, she looked great. It was interesting because there was at the wedding happened and then everybody just went bye and we took off and the actual reception was 6 miles away
Oh,
at
nice.
a place called Duck Island Park. Yeah, Duck Island, and he had rented Yeah, he had rented something, a building there. So we got there, or I got there, and they had already wired it for sound and music. There was a stage
Oh
there,
man.
and I was like, I thought we were going to eat barbecue, and we did. We ate barbecue. We ate lots of potato salad. We ate, good food and all. But then
It
it was like, Alicia, come on up, and everybody was tuning up, and the next thing you know, it was music.
it
And so
sounds
that
like the best music festival ever.
it it was, and the here in God, I hate this sounds awful. It sounds conceited, okay? But this is my opinion is it's just a damn shame that we all live so far apart because
I
as a
know, because y'all
band,
are so good.
yeah, well, it's not that we are so good individually, although they are, I'm not, but it's that when we get together, we're more than the sum total. It's
Yeah.
something magic happens, and I love it. I love it. We just it kind of is a transcending thing. I'm a fairly conservative in my movements and all of that person, you don't see me blah, all the time, but I leave my body sometimes when we're doing that stuff. It's just
I
so
love it.
wonderful. And my neck was actually sore as all get out when we left, and the reason it
Wow.
was because I was so busy, nodding up and down and back and forth and all of
Head
that stuff.
banging,
Head
head banging
banging.
like a damn goth.
Yeah. Well, and we did do a lot of rock and roll, just straight up rock and roll.
Yes,
And yeah, my soul needs that, Byron.
I know.
Every now and then I have to have it. And I was told by somebody I'm close to that, well, that they have music, they know how to play instruments and stuff, but how was it put to me? It was getting together with those guys does more for you than anything else.
Yep,
Period. End of sentence.
yep.
So more, and the conversation when it's more than a good meal, more than good friends, more than good
Hmm.
everything.
Well,
I
it
have to
touches your
admit
soul. It touches your soul.
it does, in ways that I can't actually explain, because I'm just being brutally honest. If I didn't love these guys, I might not like them. Okay, because
Oh,
we're on different sides of the political spectrum.
yep.
We're definitely on different sides of the religious spectrum, and there's just a lot of things about them that I would say, no, I'm not going to bother with these guys. Instead, what happened is I love them. I just love them. And I think they love me too. But originally what brought us together was music. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's been our saving grace. We had my buddy Chafin, who I may take his name out. That's what we call him, and he swears it's because of chafing dishes. Okay, but we're
Uh-huh.
not sure. We're not sure about. There could have been some chafing of some outfits, but his latest thing is conspiracy theories and Christianity. And so
Oh,
what happens is he goes and he drinks, and then he starts conspiracizing and contheorizing, or whatever you want to call it, and the next thing you know, he's hollering about Ezekiel and all of that, and it's like, don't, we're trying to have fun. Let's stick to music.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, cause I mean, he was not trying to be a jerk. He really, see, I'm like their honorary grandma. Most of
Aren't
those
you?
guys are younger
Aren't
than
you?
me, and they want to know what Mama thinks, and but this is religion stuff. That's some new stuff.
huh.
And the thing is, they make their assumptions about me. None of them know, well, most of them don't have never bothered to sit down and ask me. So they're there and they're talking about, oh, this conspiracy, this thing, this other thing. And they asked me, and I was very blunt but very nice about it, but I'm not lying to them about it at all. And I could tell that they were really surprised. They don't know what to think of grandma now. because grandma ain't who they thought she was. But I still love them just as much as I ever did. And
Yes.
I think they love me back. And that's the important thing. That's the interesting thing to me is we've made it all these years now. We're getting old. None of us drink coffee. Well, I drink coffee again. But in the beginning, we loved our coffee so much. We were such coffee snobs. We'd camp when we would go camping together. We'd bring our own coffee beans and roast them over the fire and just all
Oh my
kinds of things
God.
that coffee snobs do. And now, one by one, all of them are off of coffee, which we loved so much. And it's because of their stomachs. And so they're getting those old people stomachs. And I told him, I said, it's because I don't drink. And I've got, and I was just giving him a hard time about, yeah, if you didn't drink that beer, you could have some coffee. It's good. It's really good. And we spoke your name a couple times.
Oh, bless your heart.
And they all wished that you were there. And I think especially Selby. And I showed them the Revelator deck. And only 2 of them would touch the cards. And about 5 minutes later, they started talking about devil worship. And I said, wait just a damn minute here. I know how that transition got made in your mind. And this is not that. This is not that. And so I had to get biblical on their asses and talk to them about, what the Bible says about
get on Exodus and Leviticus on you.
You don't make me whip out my Ezekiel, but
Ezekiel saw the wheel way up in the middle of the air.
Yeah, that's what one of them said. They were like, "But you sing gospel, Alicia," and I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, if you think I know somebody else sings gospel. You might surprise it.
I'm qualified, so are you. And
When
then
the trumpets of the Lord shall sound, and time shall be no more.
Yeah.
Amen.
And yeah. And then, the thing is, none of them got drunk, which I greatly appreciated. But I would say 90% of them were drinking. Okay. That's why I was glad we had a big place, because anybody who was drinking did not get on the road. But so after 5 or 6 hours where you're, pretty much drinking, whenever you're thirsty, sitting by the lake with your buddies, they probably were all buzzed, but none of them were drunk as far as I could tell. But the folks next door, my God, did they have a big old party. It was like I was living vicarious. No, I wasn't actually. I was just amazed at the party, because we could hear it. We didn't mind. It's party night, whatever, go ahead. And then about midnight, everything was calm. Everything had quieted down, and you could just see the occasional dot of a boat or something out on the lake. It was just very, very quiet and nice. And I started hearing this, oh God, I'm outside. and then I heard, oh Jesus Christ, oh, and then I heard, oh holy Jesus God. And then I heard, it was 5 or 6 times, and every time he said it again, he would add some more words to it. And then the very last one was like, oh my Jesus God Christ, help me. And then we hear,
hey, sister, I've been there. We all been there.
Well, we heard that for, a while, but he threw up for a while, and then we hear a door crash, and I went on inside after that. I didn't want to stay out for the rest. And the next morning, though, the same house, of course, it's pretty quiet because it's pretty early, and I hear a voice, and I think it was the same voice, and it was said, shut the fuck up, you're gonna wake everybody up. And I could hear it way up there in the other house. Yes, that guy woke everybody up, not whoever he was yelling at. And then I hear I'm getting out, I'm getting out of here. And I hear the door shut again. And evidently the person either stepped in or saw what had happened the night before.
Oh.
And that set off this whole other round of cussing and stuff. And it's like, those boys were rough. They did not do it right.
No, they did it in the way that's going to be most painful for a few days.
Yeah. Let that be a lesson.
Hey, did Craig come up for the wedding?
He was the only one that couldn't make it. It's his busy season and his busy weekend. And we all missed him so much. We did, but hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. And all that tater salad that got made, it was all eaten. Yep. And did I give you your strawberry onion? Okay, yeah. All the strawberry onions were claimed.
Oh, you didn't tell me what it was. And I when I went in the house, I told Joe that was the most Appalachian thing. So I run out to the car and I hand her tomato starts and I hand her dolly mug and I can't remember what else I handed you. Oh, and empty egg cartons. And you hand me eggs and an onion and whatever the other thing was, but you didn't tell me anything about the onion.
I'm sorry.
I just came in the house with this big old onion. And Joe said, well, where'd that come from? And I said, Alicia, I don't know. He said, what's it for? And I said, I don't know. It's a big old onion.
It's a famous strawberry onion.
Famous strawberry onion. Well, I will be very careful eating that since it's famous.
Yeah, you might. It honestly does taste really good in potato salad.
It sounds yummy. I love onions.
I do too. I love them, and it tastes different than most onions, and just a little, just subtle, but boy, yeah, I was glad to be able to get those and so grateful.
Where did you find them?
There's only one place that I know to get them, and it's a little town out west, and they have a farm, and the farm's got a little market, and you go to the market and you ask the cashier or whoever's working there, and they will go underneath the counter and bring them up, because there's not very many of them, because they don't, they plant them on the edges of strawberry fields to repel the ants. And so that's all there are, just one time a year when the strawberries are in a certain phase, and that's all there are of them. They don't plant whole fields of them. That's it. So
now, see, I didn't know that was the story. I appreciate knowing that.
Well, they're I don't know how long they have been around and been called that. Okay, I imagine they've been around for a long time. Anybody growing strawberries that knew about the earth and knew what they were doing probably, farmed that way, I guess, for a long time. But I just heard about them in the last 10 years or so. And I thought it was an exaggeration at first. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Thank you. Because one of my cousins got me these strawberry onions and I didn't understand how special they were. And so just knowing that stuff makes you tend to want to say, oh, this tastes completely different. It doesn't. They don't taste different than onions. They taste
and what do they do for the strawberries? They repel what?
Ants or something is what I seem to remember. So they plant them there, and the ant. This lovely sound would be the trash people today.
Boop, 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 boop.
Yep, they're a day late and $1 short.
We've got 55, 55, 55,
of just the shittiest possible representatives that we keep voting in again and again. Let me just say 2 words to you, Madison Cawthorn.
That's 3.
Oh, well, I figure you're going to crow the middle one out.
I don't get it. I really don't. And I don't think that I'm ever going to get it. And I've got to find a way to get to the point that I don't care about it, because I will die with this anger if I don't find a way to ameliorate it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to die that angry, bitter old person because of what has happened to me. You know, oh, it happened to me. It's like people need to get over that shit. But anyway, you know, it did happen to me, but things happen to people all day long. I don't want to sit around and just be mad about what happened to me. I want to be able to say, you know, mm, sorry. I was also thinking about the Christian conversation stuff that I had over the
Yeah.
weekend,
Yeah.
because there was a lot of that. Oh, well, this happened to me, so it must have been God telling me. And there's a real fine line between mysticism and intellectual laziness. But
You know what? Write it down, because that needs to go on a t-shirt.
it's
I'm
true
telling
though.
you. True. That is a true thing.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
and blaming everything in your life. You know, I have my personal beliefs, but I don't sit around going, "Hey, I went to a gas station and the lady looked at me wrong. Do you think God was telling me something?" You know, maybe. I mean, I don't mean to
Right.
be Christian, but critical of it, because I believe things like that can happen. I just don't believe that you have to attribute everything to that. And that's too passive. That's
Well,
too,
and you and I both are omen readers, but we know the difference between a sign or an omen and what you're talking about. The lady at the gas station looked at me funny. There's a
yeah,
difference. And if you're attuned to it, you know what that difference is.
yeah,
And I guess I don't have
yeah.
anything sensible to say about any of it.
Yeah, it's hard for me to criticize something that I'm part of in a way. You know, I'm a mystic. I do believe in signs and omens. I'm not as passive about it, I think.
Yeah.
I feel like, well, okay, if you get a sign or omen, it might be a call to action.
Yes.
It's not just go and look backwards and change your opinion about everything to be, oh, well, that wasn't a bad decision on my part. That was God punishing me.
Right.
No, it might have been a bad decision on your part. You might have just done something stupid, and the stupid things happened to you after that. It might not have been God saying, "Oh, you had to do." Well, I mean,
Decisions can have outcomes.
that's right. Stupid is as stupid does, didn't Mama say? Mama always said. So
Oh
anyway,
God.
but
Well,
and we saw an amazing, speaking of omens and totems, I think is what it was, an amazing totem, something I've never seen before. And as we were getting closer to the place,
yeah.
the road was a dirt road, and there's a little hill about 5 feet 6 tall up over the road, and then a little ledge going into the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a baby deer had just been born and
Oh.
had rolled down the hill a little bit into the road. It was still a little wet. I mean, I know it had just been born. They have a look. And we of course stopped the car instantly. And I got to see it stand up on its own for the first time and take a few little steps. And I thought, where's the mom? And I could hear the mom bark the danger sound. Well, you know, they make a sound.
Uh-huh.
It's in between a grunt and a bark. And I heard the deer do that a few times, and I thought, this is dangerous for the animal, the baby, because if the mama deer is afraid to come down because of us, that it won't bond to the mama, and you know, blah 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 blah. But the mama deer came down, and I could see by her body, you know, that it was fairly newborn. and she licked it a few times, and it got up on its shaky legs, and it went across the,
Oh,
and it's okay. It went across the road. And the rest of the weekend, I saw deer after deer after deer after deer. I probably
that's a
saw,
wonderful sign.
it was so beautiful. I wanted to cry about it, honestly. I don't know why, but I did want to cry about it. It was just beautiful. So yeah, speaking of nonsensical things, that totem really was wonderful, I thought.
Yeah, that's
So
not nonsensical at all. That makes perfect sense, especially
it,
considering what y'all were doing that
that's what I
this
was thinking.
weekend. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And
standing on its own feet.
yeah, it was. It was like, I've never seen anything like. I'm a little cynical this week. Can you tell?
Well, and I'm just shaking my head because it's like, do I want to get started on this again? No, I do not.
You
I'm not
don't.
gonna do it. I'm not gonna talk about how the
Oh,
politics in our area have sold us down the river
again.
again, and
Uh,
they continue to
Yeah.
do it. And we
Over and over.
continue to allow it to happen.
That's the part I don't understand is, well, but I also do understand because the thinking person doesn't have a chance in this area. You don't. The all the media is very biased. All the media is very pablum. And if it's not pablum, it is BS. We've got some newspaper owners that don't, or media outlet owners, they're not just newspapers anymore, that they don't mind. Go ahead, publish your agenda. Don't focus on the rest of it. And that's what they do. And so these people who aren't able to think for themselves as well, they trust the media. Media is supposed to be, the press is supposed to be reliable. Remember when the press was reliable?
I
I
don't know.
mean,
I've got a pretty good memory, but that one that's stretching it just a little bit.
well,
Yeah,
maybe never.
exactly. Well, they had a
Yeah.
thing on our local ABC affiliate, let's just put it that way. And they were talking about, leaders in the tourism part of what we do. And it was, somebody who owns a tubing company and somebody who has a brewery and somebody, I can't
Jesus.
remember what the third one was, but they were all white people. Two of the three were men, one woman, and she just had, the look of either North Asheville matron or Arden businesswoman or whatever that look is. And you just thought, well, what about and I just can't get into it again. I can't
Okay,
because
let's not.
we keep allowing it to happen. Well, but we're a tourism economy. We got to do whatever we can to get the tourists in here. Let's knock down a row of little affordable houses so we can put in another son of a bitchin' hotel.
I was just frankly depressed leaving your neighborhood yesterday or the other day when
Oh,
I
yeah.
was going back. I took a way out that I don't normally take because I just kind of wanted to see. I almost couldn't recognize it coming into your neighborhood.
Yep.
I mean, it's just so over the top is what it is.
Yep.
And the homes they're building are ugly.
They're
They have
very
no
ugly.
personality. I mean,
There's
no
one
personality.
there's one section of homes that they were built probably 10 years ago, and they're what I call the cracker box houses that look like they're a cracker box up on its end. And the colors that they've chosen for it, it's sort of a dull off-white and rusty metal and brown and whatever. And when it is raining, if you come up that hill, it looks like a favela. It looks like a slum, South American slum. And they made the choices to make it look like that for whatever reasons they did. But I always think of that area as that's our favela, but they're $1 million+ homes. That I don't know if I talked about this last week or not, but the house where my grandfather died. My biological grandfather, my mother's father, had TB in the 30s and he died.
Yeah.
And my mother, not my mother, my grandmother, his at that point ex-wife, nursed him in his final illness. And that house is in my neighborhood, of course, because my whole family came up in that neighborhood. That house is now on the market for more than $1 million. And I just am flabbergasted. I don't even know what to say about it.
What you say is, well, I can't believe I lived long enough to see this.
Yeah, I guess.
That's what it feels like. Feels like it happened fast, even though it didn't. And I've been tempted so many times in my thoughts, and I've had to walk myself away from it. But there have been so many times when I've thought my first thought was, well, at least I won't be alive when, and then fill in the blank. And it's like, I got to quit that.
Isn't that funny? Because there's something, and we've talked about this several times. There's something about what happened 8 months ago that that has all of us, I think, thinking about mortality, which makes perfect sense. But also, we've aged. I mean, I look at myself in the
Yes.
mirror, and I've been working hard on my hair, as you know.
It's
I've been
quite
taking a
pretty.
lot of vitamins and eating avocados and all those things to get my hair to look like something, I mean, it ain't great now, but it's better than looking like a
Hair.
fever victim from the Napoleonic Wars. But what happened to us 8 months ago, aged us. And so
Yes.
often I will stop and think, yeah, but oh man, I'm 69 years old. I mean, do I expect to just bounce back from stuff? And I don't. And you and I have talked about it. My stamina is not good. I'll have a
Yeah.
burst of energy and I got to watch myself because that burst of energy, if I don't parcel that out, it'll wipe me out for 2 hours and I'll have to just lay down, take a nap like a
Well, now,
69-year-old woman would have to do, mother.
well, I will say that that's something that I like about being in my 60s is that not that I cared a whole lot before, but any damn time I want to, I will lay down. And I'll say,
Yeah,
I need a nap.
I'm napping.
What are you? That's right. I'm in my 60s. Let me nap. Let me nap. So, you know,
Well,
um,
next year
and
I
then
hit 70, so that might be even more of an excuse to have a nap.
that's right. Then that's when you have to expect it. The
Right.
nap.
No, don't call Byron now between 3:30 and 5 because she's gonna be laying down for her nap.
Ooh, my time is between 2 and 4:30. That's my
Oh,
sinking time.
I like it.
Or
I
as
like
they
it.
said, I take a sinking spell
Yes,
about
you have to take to the
4:30.
couch.
Take to the
Yep.
oh. Hey, I'm sorry, my ADD brain wanted to ask you a question. When we said that, I thought of fainting couch, and then that made me think of vapors. And then, so I was going to ask you, what exactly are the vapors when you get them? I know they cause you to faint. Is it a real thing, or was it
Not
women?
exactly sure what that is, and then they have to bring out the smelling salts. So it
Mhm.
may be something like when you hyperventilate.
Maybe. Oh yeah, because
Yeah,
they wore those little corsets, you know. They
yeah.
couldn't
So
breathe.
it could just be, and now they just give you a bag to breathe in, but then they'd have to give you some sharp smelling thing that would just snap you out of it.
I guess that's what it
I
is.
don't know, but we could
Uh,
look it up.
I never have because it was, I don't know. But yeah, I always just assumed that I knew, but I really never knew. I've never, I've really seen very few people faint in my life. I'm lucky, I think. I saw some people faint during the Elvis concert, and they looked like fine, upstanding, middle-aged citizens to me. I was a child, and those women were just passing out. And I almost wonder if it's, have you seen, was it there's an animal. They've got it on the internet, and it screams, and it gets in it locks in like that, and it just screams until it finally just goes passes out.
Oh, what is
I
that?
can't
Yeah.
I can't remember what animal that was. But I imagine that's what those Elvis fans did. Those women, they were screaming at Elvis until finally they just went, you know.
Golly, I don't know.
I don't
But
know.
I
Were you
know
an
the
Elvis?
smelling salts would bring you around from the vapors.
Yes, they would. And see, hence we're on a whole nother trail of thought now. And I'm glad, because I was getting mad, and I don't want to spend my day mad, and I don't want you to be mad today. This is a great day for you.
Yeah, we're
Great
heading
day
out
to travel.
today. We're gonna go up
Yeah.
your favorite road, 25.
Well, and you're going to go to your favorite festival, Puff.
Well,
Is
it's
that
one
not
of
your
my
favorite?
favorites. It's one of my favorites for sure, because it's so
Yeah.
comfortable. I've been doing that. It was one of the first festivals that I did. I've been doing it for decades, it feels like.
Nice.
So yeah, and
How
I
many
know most
people?
of the people. I know the staff and all that, so it feels comfy.
Is it going on until Sunday or?
Yes, Sunday at noon,
Okay.
I think we have to be out.
So with this podcast coming out on Friday evening, there are some people who might still have a little time. Is that what you're saying? To get
Well,
there and see you?
I mean, that's not what I'm saying, but obviously, if y'all are in Middle Tennessee, Pagan Unity Fest, you are hearing this on Friday night. Pagan Unity Fest will have a whole day tomorrow, Saturday, full of classes. And I'm teaching one class tomorrow, and I'll have a booth set up where my books are available. And yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah. Come on out and see all the coolness
The
I can only
coolness.
aspire to.
Except maybe not if it's some of the people you went to that event with at the wedding, because they might feel uncomfortable.
I love them too. They're awesome. They
Bless
all
'em.
are. Yeah.
I just-
There's none of them that
I'm sorry that their God has made them fearful of all kinds of things, though.
I tried to convey that as well, that the emotional manipulation part bothered me a lot. And I feel like the universe that I've been exposed to has a better way of working. Then you don't have to do that sort of thing. That's the reality that I've seen. I mean, look at what happens in nature. They don't work against each other.
No, they do not.
They don't. Even when hurricanes hit, it could be part of the Earth's plan if you want to give it that level of consciousness.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I feel like it's beyond my knowing. So anyway, we're back. I don't want to get back on that deep subject. I don't. My brain needs to.
It's
to grow.
appropriate. It's appropriate today because it's the 8-month mark, but I have to say, this has not hit me the way 7 months did. Remember how at the 7-month
And I
mark,
don't know.
you and I were reevaluating every damn thing.
Everything.
But
I think that's.
But now we've got our mugs, and I've got mine right here. What would Dolly do? And I'm going to fill it up with some good water, and I'm going to take it to Tennessee. We're going to drive past Dolly's house and say, look what I got, me a mug from the Dollar General from Sonia. Thank you, Sonia.
Well, maybe if we could get Dolly herself to anoint that mug somehow. And then we could give it to us, and maybe he would see the light. Maybe he'd say, well, what would Dolly do? And
Healed in the name of
Dolly.
Dolly. Healed, I say, healed in the name of Dolly. My grumpy clergy group met. It was just last week, actually, and they were so funny. It was me and a bunch of Episcopalians and a Methodist, and they started talking about, oh, so and so was he was a very good pastoral person, but he wasn't a good preacher. His preaching was very dull. And then somebody else, oh, was a wonderful preacher, but you did not want him to come visit you in the hospital because he would not leave. He just loved to talk and talk and talk. That kind of, because that's the whole point of that group is that you can complain about people that aren't there. So they're saying to me, so you're lucky because you don't have to do that preaching thing. And I said, are you high? Because they will say at a point in the ritual, there's like a quiet moment and you'll hear somebody say, oh, now the preaching will commence. And that's when I talk about the holy day and how you best approach that and what the divine means for us and all that stuff. And they went, oh, so you're just a preacher. And I said, yeah, and I'm a hell of a good preacher too. So there you go.
You're a natural storyteller.
And I come from a long line of Methodist ministers. It makes sense.
Yeah. And your voice is easy to follow. It's very refined. It's easy to understand, at least for me. And it's,
though sometimes I do get a little fire and brimstone-y, but not about fire and brimstone.
No. Do you prefer?
They looked a little sad, like, oh, you do that too, huh? Oh, they were hoping we would get out of it. Gosh, I would think in a Baptist temple you wouldn't have to. Well, I'm telling you, it's a church like all the other churches. You got to get them riled up, got to get them calmed down.
You got to get them eaten out of your hand, and then you send them the message.
And then you pass the plate.
That's right. Because that's right.
That's always the part I forget. The whole, and while you're here, drop a few of your pennies into this big old thing. Oh, well.
I could. You could. I would never, because it would make me feel embarrassed. But
well, it just feels desperate.
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't have a problem with, and I told these boys that the other night. Talk about a creator. You're not offending me at all. I think that a lot of what we believe or should believe is exactly the same. And it's a matter of semantics. What do you call it? I said, you guys give me a hard time because of talking to my ancestors, to my kin, to the people I love who love me. And I said, but your Bible commands you to do that. And I said, so it's a matter of words. What do you say? What's the difference between praying and communicating with? What is the difference? If you're praying to your dead relatives, what's the difference between you doing that and me communicating with mine? No difference.
Yeah, exactly.
There's none. Except there is one difference, and the difference is they are commanded to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I want to talk with my ancestors, and they want to talk with me. But the Bible says the same thing, that your ancestors are vitally interested in your life. Which also contradicts the idea of heaven in about 7 places in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
But because the Bible describes heaven. But God, get me out of this mode. I'm sorry. This is not the mode.
And it's because it's so damn cold. I'm just going to be straight with you. They used to say all the time, do not plant your tomatoes before Mother's Day because the ground is too cold. Well, I'm at the point now, maybe you don't plant your tomatoes before Father's Day because the ground is still too cold. My tomatoes look fine, but I know this cold weather, they don't like it. They don't like it.
Your tomatoes look amazing. Those two
I'm so glad you like them.
Mama, they're already, I've got them in I've got one each one of them is in a big old pot now. Of its own.
I hope they do good.
I've got it in a nice corner, so all of that. And I'm thrilled. Thank you so much. And my mother is so thrilled. I really hope that mortgage lifter one makes it because Mom's excited about that. And me too, really.
Well, I've got a few more of those, and if they make it through this week, I'm gonna pot those up too. I just don't have any more room for tomatoes. But I grew a lot of tomatoes because you grow them from seed, and you plant a
Yeah.
lot of them in case it doesn't make. But
Yeah.
yeah, I hope
Exactly.
it does well. I hope it does real well.
Well, it'll
And,
be a good thing to taste a real tomato again. And I'll make
Mhm.
sure and remember your dad too.
Thank you. He loved those tomatoes, and he also loved something called a ox heart tomato, beef heart, something like that. That is
Oh,
kind of
beef.
it's kind of a paste tomato, I think, rather than a eaten out of hand tomato. But the way it's shaped like a heart, and it's got a little at the bottom of it, it's got a little indentation. And my dad hated those because black widow spiders would hide in that little indentation in the bottom of that tomato. And oh,
Gotcha.
it just scared him. It worried him. So we never grew
Gotcha.
those. He was a big fan of also Early Girl. He liked that one.
Oh,
He, he didn't like the
I
flavor as much as he did of Mortgage Lifter, though.
well, I'm excited. Non-GMO tomato.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
That's good. And it's not going to have generations worth of stuff wiped out of it. It's not going to be so bland. So it'll be worth the histamines.
Mm-hmm. I got the good tomatoes at the store this week. I really did.
Did you?
Surprisingly good.
Well,
From
that's
Mexico or
awesome.
Florida, they were decent, tasty.
I saw a beautiful yellow tomato at the store. And I thought, well, I
Mm,
don't even know of any yellow tomatoes that are coming out this time of year, but I didn't
not
get it or
here,
anything.
not here for sure.
Uh,
You remember when we
so,
went out to Soco Gap and we stopped at that little fruit stand and got tomatoes? We're
that
due a
was
road trip,
actually
girl.
way due, and I'll take you to the place where the onions are this next time if you want. That was another thing I was gonna talk to you about. A real subject for the podcast was I drove through Irwin, Tennessee for the first time since the hurricane. Now, have
Oh,
you done that yet?
no, ma'am, I have not.
Are you going to today? Or are
I
you going
don't
the other
I
way?
don't know. I don't know. But I don't know. Have I got the heart to go through Irwin, Tennessee? How's it look?
I don't think you want to go through Irwin, Tennessee if you don't have to. The
Okay.
traffic is fine. There's a couple places that are one lane in and around, but nothing more than what we're used to every day. And
Mm-hmm.
but the devastation is is big there still. Their river kind of ran right through the middle of town. The difference between there and here is there's a lot more wide, flat plain on either side of the river than in many places. That's what
Well,
got River Arts
which
District.
river is that? Is that the Nolichucky?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I looked, and the road kind of the river weaves, the road is straight. And so at one point it's over here, and at one point it's over here. And there's just so much of nothing
Yeah. Yeah.
except piles of what used to be buildings or cars and stuff. There's not as many piles of trash. There's more piles of just debris. And of course, the rock hound in me is just like, oh, I need to stop and go check every stone. But because it looks like there are a lot of things that have come to the surface that the mud's washed away, the silt is washed away, and now there's all these rock formations because the river's in a different place, basically.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
hard to watch. It brought it home in a hard way. I had forgotten, believe it or not, I was so busy with my lists of things that I needed to make sure got done and blah, 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 blah. I had forgotten about, hey, I'm going to be driving through some new territory. And I looked up and it hit me hard. It did.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
be ready if you are going through Irwin, Tennessee. Our brothers and sisters there were smacked hard. They
I'll be
were.
care.
So
I'll be aware. Aware.
yeah. I also
It,
wanted to to bring up to you Decoration Day yesterday.
Yes, bless it.
Yep. And I'm just trying to kind of figure out in the next generation, are they even going to keep decoration or Memorial Day? Do you think they will? Or
Oh,
has it just
well,
turned into a vacation for everybody?
I don't know. And yesterday, and the day before too, my social media feeds were full of people kind of being rude, actually, about now Memorial Day is for people who died in service to their country. And Veterans Day is for people who are veterans of the armed services. And Armed Forces Day is for people. And it was just like, can we just not do all of that all the time, all at once?
That's pretty
And
distasteful.
well, it is distasteful. So if somebody wishes you a blessed Memorial Day and thank you for your service, why would you want to be churlish about that and go, well, it's not about my service. It's about people who didn't come home. I don't know. And I never served, so I probably don't have any room to speak. You had a big weekend.
Yeah, there's a lot of logistics involved. So, with just a lot of logistics. There was another subject I wanted to ask you or bring up, and
Yes,
that
sir.
is the area that you're going to
Yes.
is somewhat regionally well known, I'll say, for the variety and type of snakes that are out. And yeah, snakes. And so this is a time of year when you can go out and find them, I guess, if you're into herpetology. And I just thought about that because I believe, and then I went and checked the website. And yeah, you're within about 50 miles of that area of
Nice.
Tennessee. Yeah.
I mean,
So,
I'm very respectful about snakes. They don't scare me. I don't have a phobia about them, but I have a healthy respect for them. I mean, I'm the kid that grew up playing with garter snakes and even now, when my daughter was little and we'd see those little brown snakes and
decays.
she called them little heads. Mama, look, it's a
Yeah.
little head. Because I'd explain to her, if it's got a big triangular head like this, you stay the hell away from it. But if it's got a little head, then it's okay. And she go, Mama, look, it's a little head. I know. She such a precious baby who's now
I
34 years old. 34.
I saw your photo on the Book of Faces and with you and
Yep.
her. And I thought, oh
We're
my gosh,
adorable.
y'all are adorable.
We are adorable. Are you kidding?
So I saw a person wearing a t-shirt that said, I'm a ray of light. Yeah, I need something like that.
Oh, come on. We
Light,
need,
we need
all the t-shirts, don't we?
Yeah, I'm saying that. I'm so tempted to put my pennies together and buy one of those shirts that will do screen or machines that'll do screen printing. See, it used to be that it would take 4 screen printing stations because
Right.
you literally have to build a screen and put the paint over it. And it was very precise and hard and not something that I could do or would do. But now you can have a printer that will print on your cloth.
Oh, yeah.
Not like a transfer, because you've already
Right.
got those. They're out there pretty commonly. I wouldn't do transfers because they come off eventually. But it's an actual screen print. And it's like, gosh, there's a part of me that would like to do that. There's this other part of me that goes, no, I just would like to design them.
Yeah.
I love designing them. I would like to
Well,
just
that's
design them.
that's what the aforementioned daughter wants for her birthday this year.
Oh, is
It's
one of those
those-
machines?
Yeah. Yep. They're
Is
not
it
expensive.
Which one?
I don't know. I've got it. I've got it written down.
Then it may be a crickle or CO. I read it, but haven't seen. They're actually really cool. They can do some really cool stuff, and with her background in design, she'd be awesome probably with something like that. quite
Keep her
well.
off the streets. That's all. I'm just trying to keep her off the streets and not selling drugs or, starting a
That's
puppy mill or any of that stuff because you know how she is.
yeah.
Lordy.
I'm sure. I'm sure. I think she's probably pretty talented.
She's very
That's what I
talented.
think.
Yep,
Yeah.
very talented.
Yeah. So no
I
pride in your
do say
voice at
so
all.
myself.
Well, you would know. So
I would
listen,
know.
I
I know
want you to
talent when
be.
I see it. Huh?
I want y'all to be careful. This is what my mother would say. All right. I
All
want y'all
right.
to be careful. That
Yes,
weather's
ma'am.
might be fine, but those drivers out there are all crazy. So
We're gonna have some behaviors.
have behavior.
Gonna
Enjoy
have some.
yourself most of all.
Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna try to just not worry about what I'm eating, and I'm not gonna be drinking at all. So yeah, I'm gonna be good. I'll be good. Speaking of your mama, as you know, I'm her biggest fan. How's she doing?
Right now, with any luck, she's awake. She's probably eating a donut that I brought her because
Oh,
I don't understand how she can eat something sweet and 2 hours later her blood sugar is normal. But
well,
she can do it.
cause her pancreas works, my dear. That's why.
Yeah, it really works. But I hope she's got a sweet tooth this week because I brought home 2 dozen Dunkin' Donuts in the car, kind of half by mistake. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to eat them. I'm not even tempted by them. But Mom will drink some coffee and she'll probably have one or two. And
Ooh,
so she'll probably be in a nice sugar coma most of the week over
sounds
the way
good.
her day's. I guess. I don't know.
All right, tell your mother I said hello and that I am still her biggest fan. And Selby, bless your heart, we're so proud of you and happy for y'all.
Yes, yes, yes.
Good man,
And
good man.
y'all, thank you for hearing all this mess.
Yep. Well, and putting up with us. We're getting better
Yep.
though. 8 months.
Yep, we
8
are.
months.
That's right.
Yep.
That's a long time. All right. Well,
You
I'll
take
see
care of
you.
yourself, okay?
Y'all take.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
love
We'll
you.
be careful. You be careful. Good luck today. Bye.
WYRD Radio.